Good evening. This is All India Radio. I'm Abhishek Mukhopadhyay and with me is Manoj Singh Rana with the evening news. The headlines. Health Ministry says there is continuous decline in daily cases of COVID-19. Country registers significant recovery of 96.7%. Government says Delta Plus variant of coronavirus found in 10 states. Situation has been closely monitored. Oxygen audit panel appointed by Supreme Court says proactive steps by Union government during first COVID wave helped to quickly enhance oxygen production during second wave. Finance Minister announces tax rebates for payments towards COVID-related treatment and death, extends time limit for TDS statement filing. President Nath Kovind reaches Kanpur on a special train on a 5-day visit to Uttar Pradesh. IT Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad says Twitter's action of blocking his account is in gross violation of the Information Technology Rules 2021. Education Minister assures students of proper evaluation criteria for CBSE Class 12th examination. Nearly 1.12 crore houses sanctioned under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Urban. 246 lakh jobs created. India and China agreed to find an early resolution to the remaining issues along the LAC in eastern Ladakh. And Financial Action Task Force retains Pakistan on its grey list. In sports, National Interstate Athletic Championship takes off in Patiala. As the free COVID-19 vaccination campaign is begun at government facilities for those above 18 years, we advise our listeners to get vaccinated. We also advise our listeners not to lower their guard as COVID-19 remains a threat. Please stay at home unless it is essential to go out and continue to follow the 4 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene, and get vaccinated. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011 2397 8046 and 1075. And now the news. Union Health Ministry has said that continuous decline in daily cases of COVID-19 and further improvement in recovery from infection has been noticed in the country. Addressing media in New Delhi this evening, Joint Secretary in the Health Ministry, Love Agarwal, said that continuous decline in daily cases has been noticed since India reported a peak with nearly 4,14,000 cases on 7th of May. He said now almost 88% decline in such cases has been since the highest reported peak in daily new cases. He said in the last 24 hours, only 51,666 cases of corona infection were reported.
ओवरऑल केस का जो कंटेनमेंट है इन्फेक्शन वह लिमिटेड टेरिटरीज में ही नोट किया जा रहा है। एक स्थाई पर जहां पर डेली केसेस रिपोर्टिंग में कमी आई है, दूसरी स्थाई पर एक्टिव केसेस यानी कि वह केसेस जो हमारे हॉस्पिटल या होम आइसोलेशन में जिनको हम मॉनिटर कर रहे हैं, उसमें भी 37,45,000 जो अधिकतम केसेस देश में 10 मई वाले समय पर हमने नोट किए थे, वह घटते घटते अब 6,12,000 केसेस देश में रह गए हैं।
Mr. Agarwal said that till 4th of May, 531 districts in the country were reporting over 100 cases daily. Now number of such districts has come down to 125. He said till 10th of May, there were over 37 lakh active cases in the country, and after continuous decline, it has now come down to 6.13 lakh, which is a decline of 83%. Mr. Agarwal said that the country is also witnessing a consistent increase in recovery rate. He said from the 81.8% on 3rd of May, the overall recovery rate has improved to 96.7%. Mr. Agarwal said currently 17.58 lakh tests of COVID-19 are being conducted on a daily basis as the cases are on a decline. He said in 565 districts the case positivity rate is less than 5%. Mr. Agarwal said till 3 p.m. today, more than 31 crore 13 lakh vaccine doses have been given to the beneficiaries. Mr. Agarwal also appealed to the people not to lower their guard against the virus and follow COVID-appropriate behavior strictly.
अगर हम रिक्वायर्ड प्रिकॉशंस लेते हैं तो जो वेव आप बोलेंगे, 3rd हो, 4th हो, 5th हो, 10th हो, उसके केसेस की संख्या नहीं बढ़ेगी। हम आज भी फिर आप सबसे रिक्वेस्ट करना चाहते हैं कि जरूरत है कि हम मास्क, 2 गज की दूरी और सैनिटेशन जो अपना हैंड हाइजीन और एनवायरमेंटल हाइजीन, इस पर से हमारा ध्यान ना हटे।
National Centre for Disease Control NCDC Director Sujit Kumar Singh has informed that as of now, 48 cases of Delta Plus variant were detected across the country. During the media briefing, Dr. Singh said that these variants were found from 45,000 samples which were sequenced. He said these variants were found in 10 states and UT, namely Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Punjab, Gujarat, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Odisha, Rajasthan, Jammu and Kashmir and Karnataka. He said Delta Plus variant signifies Delta variant with an additional mutation.
क्योंकि डेल्टा वेरिएंट ऑलरेडी वेरिएंट ऑफ कंसर्न है, इसलिए इसके सब लीनिएज को भी वेरिएंट ऑफ कंसर्न ही कहा जाएगा। कोई भी एडिशनल म्यूटेशन जो डेल्टा वेरिएंट में है, उसको एक प्लस के साइन से डिनोट किया जाता है। इसमें कोई ऐसी बात नहीं है कि प्लस का मतलब कोई ज्यादा तीव्रता से ट्रांसमिशन बढ़ेगा या कोई ज्यादा सीवियर डिजीज करेगा, ऐसा कुछ इसमें ये प्लस नहीं इंगित करता। आज की तारीख हम देखें जहां पूरे विश्व में इसके बहुत ही लिमिटेड नंबर ऑफ केस हैं, 50 केसेस पूरे हिंदुस्तान में 12 जिलों में पाए गए हैं और इन 50 केसेस से ये भी हमारे 3 पिछले माह में फैले हुए हैं। ये नहीं कह सकते कि किसी भी जिले में, किसी भी राज्य में ये एक हमको बढ़ता हुआ ट्रेंड दे रहे हैं।
Dr. Singh added that 8 states are important where more than 50% of the variant of concern or Delta variant have been found. These states are Andhra Pradesh, Delhi, Haryana, Kerala, Maharashtra, Punjab, Telangana and West Bengal. He also added that the COVID variants of concern found in 174 districts.
आरएनए वायरस का पर्टिकुलरली म्यूटेशन एक सामान्य प्रक्रिया है जिसको कि हम सब लोग मॉनिटर करते हैं। मॉनिटर क्यों करते हैं? क्योंकि इसका इम्पैक्ट डिजीज के ट्रांसमिशन पर कितना पड़ रहा है ये देखने के लिए। क्या जो म्यूटेशन हम देख रहे हैं उसमें क्लिनिकल सीवियरिटी भी दिख रही है या हम कोई म्यूटेशन ऐसा देख रहे हैं जो कि री इन्फेक्शन को प्रमोट कर रहा है, और क्या हम ऐसा देख रहे हैं कि वैक्सीन की एफिकेसी में अगर कोई नए म्यूटेंट का असर आ रहा है, ये देखने के लिए। और इसी के साथ हमको एक और पहलू भी हम इसका देखते हैं, वो है जो हमारे अवेलेबल टेस्ट हैं, क्या वो हमारे नए म्यूटेंट वायरस को डिटेक्ट करने में भी उतनी सफलतापूर्वक कारगर है कि नहीं।
During the briefing, ICMR Director General Dr. Balram Bhargav said that the two vaccines, Covishield and Covaxin, work against the alpha, beta, gamma and delta variants of SARS-CoV-2. He said laboratory tests are ongoing to check the vaccine's effect on the Delta Plus variant. He also informed the Delta Plus variant is present in 12 countries and 48 cases have been identified in India, but more importantly, they have been very localized and this virus has also been isolated and cultured now.
Variants of concern are 4, alpha, beta, gamma and delta, and they are due to increased transmissibility, change in virulence or disease presentation, and evading the diagnostics or drugs or the vaccines. However, variant of interest, which are several epsilons, and they are not necessarily that they will all turn into variant of concern. They are detected in multiple countries. They can be responsible, some localized string of infections, and rapidity of spread is not present.
The Oxygen Audit Panel appointed by the Supreme Court has said in its report that the proactive steps taken by the Union government during the first wave of COVID-19 helped to quickly enhance oxygen production during the second wave. Meanwhile, BJP spokesperson Sambit Patra today said the Audit Panel report has said the Delhi government had shown its oxygen requirement by inflating it by 4 times. Mr. Patra called it shocking and criticized the Delhi government. He said it is unbelievable to see that the AAP government was playing politics with oxygen supply when COVID was at its peak. Mr. Patra said it is petty politics. Government today announced tax exemption for expenditure on COVID-19 treatment and ex gratia received on death due to COVID-19. Minister of State for Finance Anurag Thakur said many taxpayers have received financial help from their employers and well-wishers for meeting their expenses incurred for treatment of COVID-19. He said in order to ensure that no income tax liability arises on this account, it has been decided to provide income tax exemption to the amount received by a taxpayer for medical treatment from the employer or from any person for treatment of COVID-19 during financial year 2019-20 and subsequent years. He said the government has also decided to provide income tax exemption to ex gratia payment received by family members of a person, from the employer of such person, or from other person on the death of the person on account of COVID-19 during 2019-20 and subsequent years. The exemption will be allowed without any limit for the amount received from the employer, and the exemption shall be limited to 10 lakh rupees in aggregate for the amount received from any other persons. Mr. Thakur also said that another relief to income taxpayer is that the time to invest in a residential house for tax deduction has been extended for more than 3 months.
Another relief to the income taxpayer is time to invest in the residential house for tax deduction extension for more than 3 months. Investment required to be made on or after 1st April now can be made up to 30th of September. So there is extension of 3 months. As far as PAN Aadhaar linking, extension of 3 months is granted from 30th June to 30th of September. As far as Vivad Se Vishwas scheme, payment without interest extension is granted by 2 months from 30th June to 31st of August. Now closing the scheme with interest in the next 2 months by 31st of October. Extension of time for passing orders. Now time for making assessment and pass penalty orders. Now extension is given for 3 months from 30th June to 30th of September.
Maharashtra has become the first state to inoculate more than 3 crore people in the country. The state has inoculated 3 crore 2,43,133 beneficiaries till 6 p.m. today. Due to the increased availability of the vaccines, the state administration has increased the pace of the vaccination drive. More from a Mumbai correspondent.
Maharashtra government is keen to increase the vaccine coverage and has increased the pace of the vaccination drive in the new phase with revised guidelines. The state has registered new records of inoculation with more than 6 lakh doses yesterday and more than 5 lakh doses day before yesterday. More number of beneficiaries are able to get the jabs easily due to the permission of walk-in registration. But at the same time, there are instances of vaccine shortage at some centers in Mumbai, and at the same time, more stock of vaccines lying at other major centers, but the beneficiary turnout is less. The government will have to address this issue by creating the awareness and giving proper information about the availability of the vaccines in the particular area. Shailesh Patil, AR News, Mumbai.
Kerala confirms 11,546 COVID positive cases in the last 24 hours. 11,056 recoveries and 118 deaths were also reported. With 1,08,867 samples were tested, the test positivity rate stood at 10.6%. 1,230 is the active caseload in the state. State Health Minister Veena George has informed that all preventive measures will be strengthened in Parali and Pirayiri panchayats of Palakkad district, where the Delta Plus variant of coronavirus was confirmed.
In Manipur, a record number of 4,083 persons, including 330 persons in home isolation, were discharged during the last 24 hours, as per the information received from COVID-1 Common Control Room of the Government of Manipur. During the last 24 hours, 585 persons were confirmed as new COVID-19 positive cases in the state out of the 4,587 samples tested for the virus. The positivity rate is 12.75%. The total number of positive cases is 66,756. Presently, the total number of active cases is 5,668 and the recovery rate is 89.87%. As per the latest information, the total number of persons vaccinated in Manipur is 5,15,590. You're listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Health Ministry says there is continuous decline in daily cases of COVID-19. Country registers significant recovery of 96.7%. Government says Delta Plus variant of coronavirus found in 10 states. Situation is being closely monitored. Oxygen audit panel appointed by the Supreme Court says proactive steps taken by Union government during first COVID-19 wave helped to quickly enhance oxygen production during the second wave. Finance Ministry announces tax rebates for payments towards COVID-related treatment and death, extends time limit for tedious statement filing. President Nath Kovind reaches Kanpur on a special train on a 5-day visit to Uttar Pradesh. IT Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad says Twitter's action of blocking his account is in gross violation of the Information Technology Rules 2021. Education Minister assures students of proper evaluation criteria for CBSE Class 12 examination. Nearly 1.12 crore houses sanctioned under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Urban, 246 lakh jobs created. India and China agree to find an early resolution to the remaining issues along the LAC in eastern Ladakh. Financial Action Task Force retains Pakistan on its grey list. And in sports, National Interstate Athletics Championship takes off in Patiala. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो खुद से वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
The centre is disseminating awareness of national helpline numbers for the benefit of citizens during the COVID-19 pandemic. The helpline number of the Health and Family Welfare Ministry is 1075. The child helpline number is 1098. For senior citizens of Delhi, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand, the helpline number is 14567. The helpline number of National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences, NIMHANS, for psychological support is 08046110007. Ayush COVID-19 counselling helpline number is 14443 and MyGov WhatsApp help desk number is 9013151515.
Welcome back. You're listening to the evening news. The President of India, Nath, Kovind, reached Kanpur in Uttar Pradesh this evening on his 5-day visit of the state. During the tour, he will visit his birthplace, Paronk, in Kanpur Dehat district, and later he will go to state capital Lucknow. He will take part in programs scheduled at his birthplace on Sunday. President Nath Kovind embarked on his journey to Kanpur on a special presidential train this afternoon from Safdarjung railway station in Delhi. The stations en route were decorated to welcome the President on his first train journey. More from a correspondent.
The special presidential train stopped at Jhinjak and Rura stations of Kanpur Dehat, where the President interacted with his old acquaintances from his school days and from early days of his social service. President received a grand welcome at these stations. During interaction with their friends and associates at these railway stations, President Nath Kovind asked everyone to follow the COVID protocol strictly. He also remembered those who lost their lives recently in the second wave of COVID in state. The two stopovers are close to the President's birthplace village Paronk of Kanpur Dehat, where two functions to felicitate him are scheduled on Sunday. On June 20th, the President will board the train at Kanpur Central Railway Station to reach Lucknow for his 2-day visit to the state capital. On June 29th, he will return to New Delhi on a special flight. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Kanpur Dehat.
The micro-blogging site Twitter today denied access to Communications and IT Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad to his own account for almost an hour over the alleged violation of the Digital Millennium Copyright Act of the USA. Mr. Prasad objected to the action, saying it was in gross violation of the Information Technology Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code Rules 2021, where Twitter failed to provide him any prior notice before denying access to his own account. Mr. Prasad said it is apparent that his statements calling out the high-handedness and arbitrary actions of Twitter, particularly sharing the clips of his interviews to TV channels, and his powerful impact have ruffled its feathers. The minister added that it is now apparent as to why Twitter is refusing to comply with intermediary guidelines, because if Twitter does comply, it will be unable to arbitrarily deny access to an individual's account which does not suit their agenda. Mr. Prasad also said Twitter's actions indicate that they are not the harbinger of free speech that they claim to be, but are only interested in running their own agenda. He added that no matter what any platform does, they will have to abide by the new IT rules fully, and there will be no compromise on that.
Union Education Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank today assured students that proper evaluation criteria will be followed in the Central Board of Secondary Education CBSE Class 12 examination. In a message posted on the social media to address the concerns regarding the evaluation of CBSE board exams, Mr. Nishank said if any student has an issue with the results, they can appear in the exam in August this year. He added that under the evaluation criteria, the students will get results as per their ability and talent. He reiterated that health of the students and better future are the priority for the government. In Odisha, 97.89% students have passed the 10th board examination under the State Board of Secondary Education this year. The results were declared today at the board headquarters in Cuttack. About 5,62,000 students from out of about 5,74,000 scored success in their matriculation.
The matriculation result this year is unprecedented on two counts. Namely, it's the first time ever that the board has declared the results without the usual examination due to COVID-19, and also for the first time that a record 97.89% students have passed the 10th class based on their past performance. Speaking to reporters in Cuttack soon after releasing the results, the Minister for Mass Education, Mr. Samir Das, said those students who are not satisfied with the results may seek for the physical examination to be held later this year, depending on the pandemic situation. He said that the process of form submission for the same will begin from the 5th of next month. In yet another development today, the state government has decided to adopt mentoring system in degree and autonomous colleges across the state to ensure that each and every undergraduate and postgraduate student appear for the online examination. Girish Chandradas, AIR News, Bhubaneswar.
The government has said that so far nearly 1.12 crore houses have been sanctioned for its beneficiaries under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Urban PMAYU. Out of them, more than 83 lakh houses are grounded and more than 50 lakh completed. The Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs organized an online event in New Delhi to commemorate 6 years of the 3 transformative urban missions. They are Smart Cities Mission, Atal Mission for Urban Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation Amrut, and Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Urban PMAYU, which were launched by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on 25th June 2015. On the occasion, Housing and Urban Affairs Minister Hardeep Singh Puri released a short movie that encapsulated the mission's journey of 6 glorious years in fulfilling the dream of a Pakka house for millions of Indians. In line with the vision of Prime Minister Housing for All by 2022, PMAYU has registered an outstanding success. The houses sanctioned so far under the mission involve an investment of 7.35 lakh crore rupees with central assistance of 1.81 lakh crore rupees. As of now, over 1 lakh crore rupees of central assistance has already been released. Infusion of such a large amount of funding has propelled the economy. Housing and Urban Affairs Ministry in a statement said that government investment under PMAYU created around 689 crore person days of employment, translating into around 246 lakh jobs. In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, 1 terrorist was killed in an encounter that erupted this afternoon between terrorists and security forces in Hanjipora area of South Kashmir's Shopian district. According to police, the encounter broke out after a joint team of security forces launched a cordon and search operation based on a specific input about the presence of terrorists in the area. As the joint team approached towards the suspected spot, the terrorists fired upon the security forces, who in retaliation killed the terrorist. The identity of the slain terrorist has been ascertained. The second terrorist of Lashkar-e-Toiba surrendered along with AK-56 rifle before the security forces during the encounter.
In Meghalaya, a third body of the 5 coal miners trapped inside the coal mines at Kremule Umpleng in East Jaintia Hills district of Meghalaya was retrieved today. The body was recovered after nearly 4 weeks of rescue efforts by a combined team of the Indian Navy, the SDRF, the NDRF and the Meghalaya Fire and Emergency Services. The second body was retrieved yesterday. Rescue teams have been conducting the mission ever since 5 miners got trapped in the rat hole mine on May the 30th. India and China have agreed on the need to find an early resolution to the remaining issues along the LAC in eastern Ladakh, keeping in view the agreement reached between the 2 foreign ministers of the countries last year. In this regard, the 2 sides agreed to maintain dialogue and communication through the diplomatic and military mechanisms to reach a mutually acceptable solution for complete disengagement from all friction points. During the 22nd meeting of the Working Mechanism for Consultation and Coordination on India-China Border Affairs today, they also agreed that in the interim, the 2 sides will continue to ensure stability on the ground and prevent any untoward incident.
The Financial Action Task Force, FATF, has retained Pakistan on its grey list. It means no respite for the nation as it looks for financial aid amid the pandemic. In the virtual session in Paris that started on 21st June and concluded today, the Global Terror Financing Watchdog reviewed the Asia-Pacific Group's report on Pakistan's compliance with its prescribed action items. FATF has recommended a list of measures for Pakistan to stop money laundering and terror financing in the nation. Pakistan was put on the FATF grey list 3 years ago and has been trying since to get out of this list. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar left on a visit to Greece and Italy today. Briefing media, External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Arindam Bagchi said that during the two-day visit to Greece, Dr. Jaishankar will meet his Greek counterpart. This is the first visit at the External Affairs Minister level since 2003. After Greece, the minister will travel to Italy to attend the G20 ministerial meetings.
Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar has relaunched IIMC's research journals, Communicator and Sanchar Madhyam. The Indian Institute of Mass Communication, IIMC, has been publishing Communicator since 1965, while Sanchar Madhyam was started in 1980. Both are UGC Care listed research journals. On the occasion, IIMC DG Professor Sanjay Dwivedi was also present. The 60th National Interstate Athletics Championships began today at the Netaji Subhash National Institute of Sports, NSNIS, Patiala. Vikram Bharat Singh of Madhya Pradesh won gold in men's 10,000 meters by clocking 30 minutes 16.44 seconds. However, his time was slower than the Tokyo qualification time of 27 minutes 28 seconds. UP's Kartik Kumar won silver, while Dinesh of Maharashtra took home the bronze medal. In the women's 5,000 meter race, Parul Chaudhary of UP won gold.
With 29 days to go for the Tokyo Olympic Games, All India Radio will take a look at India's most promising teenage shooter, Manu Bhaker, who will be busiest shooter at the Tokyo Olympics.
Born on February 18, 2002 in Chhajjar, Haryana, Manu created a sensation in shooting circles by winning gold in her ISSF World Cup debut. The women's 10-meter air pistol finals at Guadalajara boasted of experienced Olympians such as Alejandra Zavala Vazquez, Celine Gubervilla and Anna Korakaki. Yet, the event was won by an unknown Indian teenager. Manu's feat heralded the revival of India's shooting on the international stage. The majority of India's top shooters were aged 20 or younger, and it all started with a 16-year-old creating history in Mexico. While Manu has had her moments in women's 25-meter pistol, it's in women's 10-meter air pistol where she has had the most success. Soon after her Guadalajara heroics, she came into national prominence again after winning gold at the 2018 Commonwealth Games 2019 saw the advent of Manu's mixed air pistol partnership with Saurabh Chaudhary. Starting from their senior debut at the 2019 ISSF World Cup at New Delhi, the duo has won all possible golds at ISSF WC competition since then. Manu's biggest medal till date has been the gold at the 2019 edition of the prestigious ISSF World Cup final. She stunned everyone by shooting 244.7 in the finals. The score was a new world record in women's junior 10-meter air pistol finals. AIR News, Sports Desk.
Now let's take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The national capital Delhi is likely to have generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. The temperature will hover between 29 and 37 degrees Celsius. Srinagar will experience partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. Jammu will have mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Leh is expected to have mainly clear sky. The minimum and maximum temperature will be between 11 and 24 degrees Celsius. Gilgit will have partly cloudy sky with possibility of development of thunder and lightning. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Health Ministry says there is continuous decline in daily cases of COVID-19. Country registers significant recovery of 96.7%. Government says Delta plus variant of coronavirus found in 10 states. Situation has been closely monitored. Oxygen audit panel appointed by Supreme Court says proactive steps by Union government during first COVID wave helped to quickly enhance oxygen production during second wave. Finance Minister announces tax rebates for payments towards COVID-related treatment and death, extends time limit for TDS statement filing. President Ramnath Kovind reaches Kanpur on a special train on a 5-day visit to Uttar Pradesh. IT Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad says Twitter's action of blocking his account is in gross violation of the Information Technology Rules 2021. Education Minister assures students of proper evaluation criteria for CBSE Class 12th examination. And Financial Action Task Force retains Pakistan on its grey list, and in sports, National Interstate Athletic Championship takes off in Patiala. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.